how many? So, hey, this is Sumanth. So, this is the second time I'm presenting. Quite a nice group. You can just either do this and take a picture. So, yeah, how many of you are software engineers here? Hands up. Okay, going to be on software engineers. Okay, how many of you work in a company which is related to a software industry? Like you might be not a software engineer, right? Everyone. Okay. And how many of you stay in a place in Bangalore which ends with Halli? Mar. Okay. Cool. Oh, Halli. Marath Halli, Sige Halli, Dash Halli. I made it Ooru. I was talking to Tarun. And like Halli is like to this thing. Let's make it Ooru so that we have do this thing. Okay. Okay. So since we are like most of you are related to software some or the other way, so ऐसे ही घूमना पड़ा. So, like a few questions to you. Like some of you might have seen the slides, except Tarun should not answer this if he has seen it. So, yeah. Which is the first software company in Bangalore? Answers. Like, why? Okay. 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 Cool. Where was the first computer bought in India? When and where was it bought in India? Okay. Okay. Which city at least can you make a guess where the first computer was like actually? Okay. Okay. No, okay. That also makes sense. Okay. And where was the first software technology park in India? Right? We all work in parks, right? So ITPL, that PL, so Okay. IPL. Na? That's also like nowadays I see courses like why don't you become a cricket analyst? Cricket देखना ही क्यों analyst बन जाओ. Cool. So I'm gonna walk you through the history of like evolution of how Bangalore became, barring the recent developments which are happening. I hope you know what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about those. So apart from that, I'll walk you through how Bangalore became the Silicon City or the Silicon Halli or Ooru, and why Koramangala is flooded with all these, startup kings, whatever you call it. I'll walk you through, and let's see how it goes. And probably you can relate, if you have worked in one of those companies, because people tend to change a lot of companies. Probably you might have worked in one of those companies. So let's begin. First computers in India. The answer I'll give you. The first computer in India was in Indian Statistical Institute, Calcutta. Yes. Okay. So I'll tell you what the story was. Why did we require the computers? And it was in 1953-54, the long back we had, and you can imagine the computer might be this big, that full of vacuum tubes, and there were punched cards and stuff. But why did the need come? So what happened was, there was this guy called Prashant Chandra Mahalanobis, right? Mahalanobis. Yeah. He was he was returning. It was the First World War. And he wanted to go to some place, probably England. But what happened was, because of the war, he could not go there. He said he had to come back via ship. So while coming back via the ship, someone gave I think he was an engineer probably. Someone gave him a book on statistics. Okay, like such a guy. But during the trip, he read the entire statistics books and he thought I'll make this my field. So he became a statistician and he established Indian Statistical Institute, Calcutta. Now then what happened that time around, Nehru was the PM and they were doing the 5-year plans at that time. And they did something called a national sample survey, wherein they collected statistical data from different walks basically. And they wanted basically, some processing power. Huge amount of data was coming up and Nehru wanted to use this data to formulate his 5-year plan. So then, Mahalanobis said that, we need computers for this, so much amount of data. And guess what was the first computer? Even before the computer I am talking about, there were people designated as computers. Like there were basically given statistical data, and they're like, you analyze this, you analyze this, you analyze this. Yes. Computer was name of the people. It just was a name like tu computer hai aaj ke liye basically. So eventually they figured out that people are not going to work out. So we need to get our computers. So the first in electronic analog computer, just imagine the name, electronic analog computer. It was full of vacuum tubes and stuff. And that was bought to basically solve linear equations with 10 variables. That was the only intent basically. They used to feed data and solve linear equations for probably some Fourier transforms or something of that sort. And it was developed by Samarendra Kumar Mitra under the guidance of this guy who was from some place, wherein he learned computers. That's how the first computers came in India, in Calcutta. But at the same time, what was happening was they said that Indian built computer was not that great. So they basically imported this computer, HEC 2M. So go Google that. It's such a big image that comes up later on. So they basically imported that. And at the same time, someone mentioned Mumbai. So a parallel development was happening in Mumbai. Why? Because we had Homi Jahangir Baba there. So he had established Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. And now there is a relationship why Tata Institute of Fundamental Research came. Again, Homi Jahangir Baba was supposed to go to some UK, US, I don't know where. But again, due to First World War, he had to come back. So he came and he settled in Bangalore in IISc. And at that time, he was doing his research in probably, I think, atomic physics or something. And he wanted a lab. He didn't have a lab at that time in IISc. So he talked to leaders and he said that, we need basically an institute wherein I can conduct that research. And that's how Tata Institute of Fundamental Research was born. And here they basically, assembled or what, they developed the first computer and it was called TIFRAC, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. Only this was there. Nehru gave this automatic calculator. So that's how it became TIFRAC. And so that's what the first computer was. And so this is also in a way related to Bangalore. If, he wouldn't have been in IISc and he wouldn't have established this, we wouldn't have this. So that's, TIFRAC. So that was the two parallel developments. So before going to Silicon, Ooru or Halli, I wanted to give a background of how things came. And this is that, you can identify Homi Jahangir Baba Nehru operating the computers, like old image I found on the internet. And what was the early scene happening in Bangalore? So even at the same time, like all the parallel developments going on, there was a visiting professor, Vincent Rideout. So he came to Bangalore. Apparently when I was reading the story, he came with all the parts, hardware parts also. He bought the oscillators, he bought the vacuum tubes and stuff. So he assembled, it's not even called a computer, it's called electronic differential analyzer, and they called it PREDA, Philbrick Rideout Electronic Differential Analyzer. Now, if you go out on internet and search for first computers in India, everyone says that ours is the first computer. PREDA, they say that this is our first computer. TIFRAC will say that, we are the first. In Calcutta, people, they're like, we built it basically. So that Samarendra is called the father of computing. So that's how, this was the early scene basically, what happened. So, fast forward. So what happened was, the scene was going on, and then IBM had basically was everywhere at that time because they realized IBM was the sole manufacturer of computers. They were distributing computers, but they had not a good policy with India. Probably they thought India was वैसे ही चल जाएगा. So they were selling refurbished 1401 computers, which was stopped in entire world. But in India they were selling it, and it was a hot cake everywhere. And what happened was people were some think tanks in India, they said that IBM ऐसा नहीं कर सकता है because they are selling us refurbished computers and we are working on it, and they were charging more also. But one thing they excelled at was customer support. Any problem they had. And that time, I think some of you might know, Indian government introduced a law called Foreign Exchange Regulation Act, FERA. So according to this, 60% of ownership of any company should be with Indians. So two major events happened at that time. IBM said that we can't comply with this. We want a profit, so they exited. And also one more important exit happened, which I didn't mention. Coca-Cola also had to exit because of the same thing, and that's how Parle came with Thumbs Up and other things. So these two major exits happened at that time, and this presented an opportunity for Indian companies to occupy this computer space. So IBM exit is a major reason why the computer space in India and especially later on Bangalore developed. So Wipro emerges in Bangalore. So Wipro, which was selling vegetables and refined oils, I think you might. Anyone from Wipro? Just a second. No one's from Wipro. Okay. So it's something palm, Western Indian palm refined oils. That's the full form of Wipro. Okay. That's what Wipro, basically before Azim Premji took over, his father was into oil business. He was selling refined oils. Okay. So, and they realize this opportunity that, why don't we, venture into computers? IBM has exited and a nice space right now. So they thought about this. And guess what? Again, IISc, a major player. Like any development, on the tech side, we would have to attribute to IISc first, and then, all the, public sector companies. So those were the reasons why everything came to Bangalore. So IISc, then they said, like, Azim Premji thought, like, let's build a computer. So he went to IISc and they did the consultancy. IISc was the consultant for Wipro. And so their first office was here, Dickinson Road, 45. I don't know if it's still there, but this was their first address basically. And technically, it happened was Wipro Information Technology Limited was born in IISc. Wipro was incubated in IISc, so that was like one of the first incubated companies as well. So in 1981, Wipro launched its first mini computer called Wipro Series 86. Anyone, like, if your fathers have used computers, there used to be the softwares called Lotus 86, Lotus Hotstar, which were like before Excel and stuff. So in that era basically, so they were into, like, they assembled this computer with a microprocessor which was developed, and then they started developing software in 1983. And then they like, once they started developing the software, they created their first software called Instaplan, which was a project management software. Okay, so basically first this was done by Harvard, but they were not able to succeed or do it on scale. So Instaplan came, and then they created a spreadsheet software also, 456, and they also used to sell basically like a distributor. They used to sell that. So Wipro MR is there, but now what would you say? Which is the first startup of Bangalore? No, no. I'll come to that. So this is the first computer, one of those first ads. So anyone has played Prince of Persia here on those old, Prince Megahit Command Dave and something. Probably you might have played on these computers, like if that, or a better computer, or a PCS computer, basically. Yeah. Okay. Okay. First startup in Bangalore. Okay, let me get the answer. The first startup in Bangalore. I was reading this book called what's it that? Like, I forgot. It was written by Krish, who was one of the founder of Infosys. So the first IT startup in Bangalore is Processor Systems India, PSI, and it was started in Richmond Road's classic building. The fun part, it's still there. Okay, its initial focus was computer and related hardware. Now they have just shifted to embedded. They are into embedded stuff, and they built a microprocessor-based computer which was used in sonar. And today's name of the company is called Proxys. It's there still today as Proxys. And yeah, this is the first IT startup actually. Even I had thought it was Wipro, but it's not a Wipro. Proxys is the first IT startup. And at the same time, TVS Electronics came up, and they found their niche immediately, and they were into dot matrix printers. You know this, right? Like, that makes a sound, like, basically you can sample it and make an audio or this thing out of that. Yeah. So that was the first startup, IT startup. Moving on, just our favorite company, Infosys. So Infosys was basically, anyone from Infosys or worked in Infosys? Any roots towards Infosys?
I don't know. This was written by his wife.
Acha, Sudhamurthy.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. So yeah, I mean, like, you might have known the story. Like, she loaned 10,000. I'm not gonna get into that, but let's tell a different story. So what happened was, at that time, Narayan Murthy was the head of a computer called Patni Computer Systems, PCS. You might have had those old computers which called as PCS. I had one basically at that time. So Narayan Murthy wanted to basically come out of PCS and establish his own firm, and that's when 7 engineers, all the Nandan Nilekani, Ashok Suta, they came together with $250. They established it in 1981. And where did they establish? They established in Pune. It was not in Bangalore. How did they come to Bangalore? So, Maiko? Anyone stays near Maiko? Maiko Adugodi? Near Koramangala? ऐसे left लिया तो Koramangala से. Maiko Bosch? Okay, just check it out, Maiko. It's there near, very prominent. It acquires a huge space there. So they basically went, they had, like, computers were a rare thing at that time. So even for companies, they acquired this computer called Data General MV 8000. So this was basically to develop softwares and to train people, the engineers. And they basically didn't have the budget basically to do that. And so they entered into a deal with Maiko, saying that, boss, you get the computer for us and you take us as a vendor. So I'll give you half of the time and you give me half of the time. So since Micro was in Adugodi, Infosys came to Bangalore, and eventually they shifted to Electronic City. Yeah. So that's how they came to Bangalore in 1983. The story of Infosys. Okay, the first MNC enters Bangalore. Since the slide is already put up, anyone worked in Texas Instruments? Okay. Okay, the first MNC to enter, and that's when things got flashy, and we started having all the MNC culture and stuff like that. That's when Texas Instruments came to Bangalore. So originally, Texas was looking at an offshore center, like basically from US. Like, where do we basically go? They approached Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu as well for this, but because of the draconian laws, they said no. Like, we are not doing that. And another reason, like I read the interview. Another reason to come to Bangalore was IAC again, because they thought that skilled engineers are in Bangalore. So, and they approached Karnataka with one condition, that they need land near airport. And that time, there were good CMs like Gundurao, who gave them land near HL. Okay. So, and that was the first office which came near Bagmanatic Park, Siviraman Nagar, if you have seen that building. So, that was not the first office, but the land was given there. But the first office was established in Millers Road. There is something called Sona Towers. So, that's where the first office came up for Texas Instruments. And there is this guy, Valliyappa, who was responsible for building that building in Sona Towers. Okay. So, that's Texas Instruments was the first people from outside to enter Bangalore. And guess what? They came on a bullock cart. Yeah. Yeah, Texas Instruments came to Bangalore on a bullock cart. And what was in the bullock cart? No, not these guys. I didn't get a good picture. So what happened was, the story goes like this. When they came to Bangalore, internet was dial-up that time. So, you can't expect, let's say a software to be run on a dial-up connection and बीच में कोई phone उठा दिया, software run नहीं हो रहा है अभी. So not that. So they wanted to basically establish a Earth center, a satellite, wherein they could establish the communication. And I don't know for what reasons the satellite parts basically came in the bullock cart. So that's the story there. Yeah, the Earth Center. And so TI wanted to basically link the Bangalore office with its Dallas office so that they could ship software using this satellite, and that's what they built as the Earth Center. So one more thing was like interesting thing: a direct satellite link from Bangalore to USA was not possible. So they had a hop basically. So they linked Singapore and then Bedford, UK, and probably then they went to USA, something of the sort. And then once this Earth Center was established, these guys came in. Like maybe I don't know, IBM, Motorola, HP. They kind of worked out of the same, Earth Center there. And an interesting thing was, there was this DOE, Department of Electronics. I don't know if it's still there, from the government. So a guy from government was like there in that Earth Center called Data Steward. His job was to see what data was going. Like, are you like basically exporting the Earth secrets, Indian secrets or something? He was analyzing zeros and ones probably there sitting. So that was the Earth Center. Okay. Anyone from this place? Electronic City? Sabhi yahi rehta. Achha. Okay. So yeah, Electronic City is another major thing in the software scene of Bangalore. So there was this guy called R.K. Baliga who established this, and it was like from a department called Kionics. So if someone would have done courses, Kionics used to run courses on database, Microsoft Excel. I had done it because my sister used to go there, so I just accompanied her. So, and they established in 332 acres of land. Many electronic companies were set up. But real traction came after the 1991 economic liberalization, thanks to Manmohan Singh ji for this, for whatever it is. And then Infosys set up the campus in 93, and then on the boom started basically from there. And yeah, the first software technology park in India was also in Bangalore, Electronic City. The story was, it was established parallelly in three cities, Bhubaneswar, Bangalore and Pune. And STPI, as they called, removed many obstacles because software was not treated as any commodity you could export, and there was draconian laws and a lot of charges you had to pay basically to do that. And STPI removed all of that, and in fact they set up computers so that I could go and say that I don't have access to computer, but I want to start a company. So you could come to STPI, use their computer, start up company. And also the major thing which they did was they established satellites and earth stations. So they say that in Bangalore, every house used to have a radio station, like for the hops and repeaters basically. And if anything had a radio, this thing receiver there on your house, that was a software company there in Bangalore. So that was the system, because VSNL was there, if you remember. So they were charging like huge costs just for the data internet at that time. So we are in a privileged world right now. The internet was costly. I think we have experienced that as well. Before Jio came, like 200 rupees, 200 MB used to utilize for a month or something.
Have 1 GB monthly broadband plan.
Yes, yeah, that was the case. And also, remember the dial-up connections, we used to get up early or like stay late, and because it was free, yeah, half, right, yeah. So that's how STPI came in. And then, I think someone would have worked in ITPL. I too worked. No one in ITPL as well. Yeah. Okay. So ITPL, yeah, finally. So ITPL was like between a joint venture between India government and Singapore government, and it was first like a basically work live play, basically saying that you work 24/7 there. That kind of a project. It was the first one in the entire country. So ITPL came in, and yeah, next that was about it. And then the era of supercomputers. So India was at that juncture wherein they wanted to get supercomputers in Bangalore, and again the seeds were sown in our very own IISc at that time. So that time a very able guy, CNR Rao, was heading IISc, and Professor Raja Raman, any strict computer science students would have known. He has written on computer data structures, algorithms, and stuff like that. He basically they put this plan into action. Initial plan was to basically get supercomputers from USA. There was something called a Cray computer, but the laws were so strict that US basically you had to tell what kind of programs you are running on the supercomputer, even though India brought it, and the amount of what kind of data is running and all those things. Eventually, the plan was shelved, and the first supercomputer was built, Param 8000, in Pune. But now ISC has Param as well. They have a Param center wherein all this thing, but the seats were again sown in ISC Bangalore. Yeah, and after that story so far. So after Infosys were the initials, then TCS came from Pune to Bangalore. Apparently TCS is the first consulting company in entire India. FC Kohli started it in Mumbai. HCL was way back in Delhi. It was not even related in the southern, so they started in Delhi. Mindtree, Happiest Minds were offshoots of Wipro. Everyone worked for Wipro, and they came in and started Mindtree. Ashok Soota and Subrata Bakshi. Google, Apple, Facebook are there. Apple recently had an office near Cubbon Park. They have that, and many R&D centers are there. Flipkart story, I guess they started out. Bansal started out selling the books, and then they made huge names and brought bungalows in Koramangala. Koramangala, I believe, like even the Ola story. Ola has a registered office in Koramangala again, and then we have gone so far. Like we have ONDC right now, wherein Namayatri is there. Being built on open platforms. And last I read, I researched, we have around 7,000 plus startups in Bengaluru. Like hopefully the number increases. Okay, condition, and yeah, that's it. Any questions? That's pretty much. Thank you.
What happens to Bhubaneswar?
Bo-
Why is it not on the map anymore? The software list.
It depends. I mean, like it's like see the competition Bangalore because two things, IISc, and it has established that aura. And I was reading this another book called Unboxing Bangalore. They say that this kind of network what we are doing right now is only Bangalore specific. It's tough to find in other cities is what they claim. So yeah, I mean like even today, like you can go to a anyone and talk is what the book claims. I'm not claiming anything. Okay, so that's one reason. And another thing is like the weather, ISC, and top talent. We have a lot of engineering colleges. Like I'm not competing with Hyderabad right now, but we do have a lot of engineering colleges. So that might be the reason. And I mean, like there have been good political support as well for us. Like we had SM Krishna and all. The other chief ministers who have done a very commendable job giving everything. And next up is Hyderabad. I don't know, probably Bhubaneswar. We have like huge companies there. TCS has, Infi has, but I don't.
I am in Naik there.
Yep.
So the time we are talking about probably MP and Chhattisgarh we have been one state, and those are the parts dealing with all insurgency and all.
Right.
So we wouldn't have let the development progress, and things would have got stalled by the locals.
And the notion was also, I think the entire credit for Bangalore's development, if you ask me, is two things. Britishers came, the cantonment was established in Bangalore. That's the first thing. Second, IISc. These are the two main factors. If none of this, Bangalore would have been some Halli only. Probably Mysore would have been the capital. Okay. These are the two reasons why, things like, we have all the privileges. And Mumbai to is Mumbai. We had research institute there and FC Kohli, and so that's why I think things started getting south here because things were established. So I think that's probably the reason is what I guess. Yeah.
So this question is for you, Tarun, and for you also, assuming you guys are from Bangalore. So, like after all this silicon companies coming, software companies coming here, do you feel that this development destroyed the aesthetics of Bangalore?
I'm not a Bangalorean. I've been here for just 10 years. I'm a Uttar Karnataka. She might be knowing like the old Bangalore. Yeah.
It has, it's destroyed. Yeah. I feel it's so cheese. Because I come from a city, like it's a city, it's a town turning a city right now.
Okay.
So I come from Andhra Pradesh.
Acha.
So right now it is going in the path of development
Uh,
where we are getting
no, it's called rapid urbanization. Yeah.
rapid urbanization, and I sometimes feel like this development is destroying the aesthetics of the city.
No, that happens. Like Bangalore probably even I don't know about those things, but I have read and researched a lot. Like what Bangalore was, probably urban solace would not have been there. Only this would have been there. Our Thambis would have been here. Like basically, yeah. So yeah, that has led to a lot of development, and Whitefield for that matter. There was a point of time when I have read people saying that people like if they are going to Whitefield, it's a picnic for them basically from this part of Bangalore. Yeah, I still it is. Yeah.
I come from Michael and my colleagues wish me happy journey when I go home and come to office.
No, even for that matter, Alsur, no, it is a very historic place here. It's from the Kempegowdas, these lakes. Even at that time, only Madras Sappers was there. If you go here, while going, you see Madras Sappers. Okay, now it has developed, but that way, Indranagar was what? It was Binnamangala, right? It was just a mix of Hallis there, basically. Now, you have it's a pub city, basically, for us. Like this side pub, and even JP Nagara is turning is onto pub, basically, They've been Nagara sixth phase. So yeah, it leads basically to and that's what the cribbing is always there. Like you always want to go to the old days. That's always there.
As a kid, I've played cricket on 100 feet.
Great.
That's how
You can't even imagine. Now you have to take permissions probably. Like police, yeah, like everywhere you want to.
So,
Yeah.
how much of it sounds like defense? When I see like this law, like pretty much like all top defense.
So see, I mean, like Bangalore, basically, I'll tell you, like how the tech development happened. First was IISc, like the actual tech, and trust me, it was because uh, who is that? Sorry, there was a divan. Actually, IISc was supposed to go to Mumbai. He fought and bought it to Bangalore. Okay, so I'm not getting K. Sheshadri Iyer. He fought it basically and said that why are you going to Mumbai? Come to Bangalore. That was the first thing. And then basically I don't know. I think again because of IISc, I think this is the driver for everything. All because we had the tech talent here. All the PSU started coming in. All the defense institutes started coming in. And based on that, and weather, we always have no like that's there. Like we always have the weather. Yeah. So and apart from that, the tech also started coming in right now, the IT, and yeah, I don't know what else. And we even biotech is a huge thing here. I haven't included like Kiran Mujo. At the same time, biotech also had a huge boom in Bangalore.
Cantonment had an effect. You just mentioned cantonment.
Now, see what happened was like the first thing why Bangalore became important was British started staying here. Until then, Mysore was the important thing. Next was Chenpatna. So what happened was I'll just tell you a small story. They wanted basically cantonment when Tipu Sultan was defeated and Britishers basically acquired Mysore. They wanted to establish cantonment in Chenpatna, but Chenpatna they established also, but many soldiers started falling ill because there were a lot of mosquitoes and there was cholera. And so then they basically checked Chitradurga and others, and when they eventually settled to Bangalore because of weather. And yeah, and that's why all these developments happened because many institutions started coming in, theaters started coming in, all these big buildings, funds started coming in basically because we had. So and that was probably another reason Divan started residing in. Mysore was there, the Divan's place was here.
So, if I Mysore and then they started
Exactly. And you had your commissioner's office here, like the Raj Bhavan was where the British commissioner stayed. Cubbon and all used to stay there. So that's how the development started actually.
Does Vishweshwaraya have anything to do with all of this?
No, Vishweswaraya was way before this. Like when he was the Diwan, he established the factories, like the sandalwood factory. He actually was a like kind of a precursor before IASC. After IASC, sorry, because he established something called the Economic Forum, wherein all the major decisions came out. They said like we are establishing the factories, and in fact, this guy was responsible, Vishweswaraya, for the restaurant history of Bangalore. The restaurants were going down. He said that this is something we need to develop if you want people to come in and stay, and that's where the modern hotel, if you guys know the new modern hotel, which is there. Like you should try the idlis there still. Amazing idlis. So that was established. So Vishweswaraya was instrumental in that basically. Yeah. You had a question.
Is there anything specific to the culture? Because notice in Chennai it's a very cultural. And same in Hyderabad, I don't know, but I noticed is there like a cultural factor as well?
No, that's the thing.
Is that like a minor thing?
No, the cultural factor came in again because of this variety of people coming in. If no one had come in, we would have stayed in our own this thing. Like we had all. If you go to like Malleswaram, Basangudi, that zone basically, wherein the proper old Bangalorean stay, it's either a Tamil people who came in, and otherwise the local Kannadigas. When cantonment or Ulsur established, with Britishers came a lot of Tamilians basically with them. So, they wanted people who work for them. So a lot of Tamil influx came in, and that's why you see Halsur and Halsur, whatever you call, is a lot of Tamil belt is there this side. And then the Britishers came in. We had the pub cultures, because that's why we are called the pub capital as well. Like last time when I did on alcohol, yeah. So that's also there, and that invited, like basically, like probably the mindset has changed. Like we started inviting, and like we are okay with everyone. Probably those things matter. Yeah, that it was way cosmopolitan then also. Yeah. So a quick thing, like how cosmopolitan we were, right? This the Deccan Herald office, by any chance you have seen on the MG Road. If you go next time, you have seen Higginbotham's. Okay, you can see while going. That was a dance bar called Fennels. Britishers used to come there. So, and that was supposed to be turned into a theatre. And by whom? The guy who owned, Deccan Herald. And that guy was a Arak king. So he wanted to do it as a theatre. But then again, at that time, the Diwan said that theatre to bahut hai, come and establish a newspaper. That's when Deccan Herald came up, and Prajavani and Deccan Herald came up. So that cross cultural thing was there. Otherwise, presses wouldn't have come here. Like everything would have been in Mysore and those regions.
What do you think about this new laws that have come? The quota thing and all. You are saying that more startups should come up. All the startups are trying to run.
I don't support those. That's bullshit. No, they will.
Then Haryana tried to bring in the quota.
Yeah.
And Supreme Court turned it down.
No.
So that is the end of it. Just you get some political mileage by doing all this.
The thing is, they will just tell later on that we tried.
There's so much happening at the
Which one?
college level and now you're making it more famous. Just imagine all the Indians are going to all the Western nations, Europe and America, and they start putting in the quota. I know, like you put in India.
No, that will not work. The only thing probably is that they'll say that we tried, but it didn't happen. Yeah, but like there are two things to it. One is they want to promote Kannada. They can do it like in a different way, but not here. Like
I'm curious if you would like to do a comparative study. I know you want to do it in the same setup, but as a person who has put in this much effort into this, if you could do a case study comparison between SF and Bangalore.
Okay. And since you bought SF is our sister city.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean like you okay, I'll just tell you the small and I'll end, okay? Yeah. So there is something, if you go near Cubbon Park, right, wherein that, Tejas aircraft is there, there is a square called Minsk Square. Do you know what Minsk Square is? Minsk, no, Bulgaria. Yeah, there is a place called Minsk in Bulgaria, and Bulgaria has Bangalore Square. Yeah. Yeah, so during World War II, there was this concept of sister cities. So I mean, like, so develop log lad rahe the na, basically let's promote culture and stuff. So that's why cities got into the sister cities agreement. That's why these squares started coming in. we are also a sister city of San Francisco. Basically, San Francisco is our sister city. So that's how the Minsk Square is there. That's why Minsk Square is there. Like people know, but this is the story behind Minsk. Yeah. Cool. I'll take a pause. Yeah. Thank you.